Good morning, folks. And our intro just caught my attention. Are you ready for today's show? I am pumped up. I'm here with Judy, our money truth expert. How are you this morning, Judy?
Good. I don't know if anyone our age would know. We're going to pump you up. If that rings bells, you're our age.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a great way to start today, for sure.
That's an old SNL quote from way back.
Right.
People our age,
I haven't heard that.
The 40s are like, what are you talking about?
I haven't heard that in a long time. So that's perfect.
Pump you up.
Yep.
Very funny.
Folks, welcome to today's show, Money Truth Moments. If you're not following Judy, please do so at judycopenbarger.today. Today, we are starting our summer series, and I'm very excited about this because today we're going to talk about beat the heat, not your budget, summer saving hacks. And I can't wait to dive into this and share with folks what we're going to talk about today. So what do you say we get started?
Let's do it. I'm ready.
All right. So let's start with question number one, which is why do summer months often lead to more spending usually than we really expect?
Oh, the kids are home.
True.
The kids are home. They're out of school. We're traveling. We're connecting with family. We're eating more. We're visiting more. We're flying the relatives in, all that stuff. So it's not the normal schedule. If you have kids or if you're somehow related to the cycle of education, and most families are at some point, you've got that routine. And then summer happens, we don't have a routine. So it's like, oh, why don't we go out and do something? And sometimes there's a price tag attached to that. So it's just getting into a different routine that you plan for. It makes all the difference.
So in saying that, I think we take for granted that all of a sudden summer's here, kids are out of school and all of that, right? And we don't really think about seasonal expenses. So what are those some seasonal expenses people tend to forget or to plan for as summer begins?
Well, it kind of depends on the season of life you're in. Right now, our kids are grown, but now we got grandkids. So the other day I went on clickety click, Amazon and did the little shopping that you do late at night, from your bedside table. And I thought we need a little kiddie pool. And we need some little kiddie toys, float toys to go in the kiddie pool. Well, that's not a normal expense I would even think of. It wouldn't be in my spending plan or my budget. So, families all over the country are doing the same thing. Like, I want to have fun. I want to get a water wiggle. I want to get some, toys for outside to cool off and beat the heat. So what are those things? Are we going to go to a public pool? Or are we going to go take a vacation? Are we going to go to the beach? If you go to the beach, there's all that stuff, parking, hot dogs, all the things that are associated. Oh, we need new beach towels. I forgot my towel. I got to buy a new one, all that stuff. And so these seasonal expenses can kind of sneak up on you. And even if you're not on a vacation, you might be on a staycation and you might be spending just about as much if you don't really plan.
And that's so true. It's those unexpected things you don't think about. All you care about is, hey, I just want to be on the sand and just get there no matter what. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, well, I got to buy this, got to buy that. Or I forgot to pack this to take with me. So now I got to, pay for some of that as well, too. So why is summer like a great time to really reassess spending habits and routines?
Well, I think this should be done monthly, ideally. If you really have a struggle or you're trying to really break through the ceiling and get to the next level financially, monthly is a great frequency for reassessing. But quarterly is great. So here we are, tax time, you're looking at your money. Christmas time, you're looking at your money. Now here we are in summer. It's been another 90 days or so since taxes. It's like, why not just reassess again and pull together what our plan is for the rest of the summer, or think about back to school stuff, right? I mean, we're not even there. Here it is June. We're thinking, should we plan for September? Yeah. If there's uniforms, if there's extra tuition expenses, if there's, all the registration fees, all the, the clothes, the shoes, all the back to school stuff you need, backpacks, all that. Why not plan for that in June? And if we would have planned in March for now, we would have plenty of money, right? So people that have done that know. So I think reassessing spending habits quarterly, minimally, is a really, really great plan. So let's do it right now before the month is over.
That's right, folks. So make sure that you are taking notes. If you're just joining us now, please make sure that you are following Judy at judycopenbarger.today. Watch the beginning of the show as we are doing a very special summer series on how to save, how to have fun, on budgets, on finance, all that good stuff. And speaking of that, I am going to have to turn the page here and put on the adulting hat, right? Because summer wouldn't be summer without actually being responsible. So let me ask you, what are some easy ways to reduce like utility energy bills during the summertime?
Well, in our area, and I believe most of the country might be the same, definitely the coast. Here we are in California. The cost of power, the cost of electricity depends on the time of day. So in the middle of the night, it's a lot cheaper to use your electronic devices than in the evening, for example. That's the highest. And then earlier in the day, it's a little bit less than then, but middle of the night is better. So one thing that you can do to cut those utility bills right off the top is do your laundry either late at night or first thing in the morning or in the middle of the night if you're up. Some of us are up doing things in the middle of the night. So that's one thing you can do. You know, when we were growing up, it was like turn off the lights, turn off the lights, turn off the lights,
Mhm.
save the water, turn off the brush your teeth
Yeah.
without the water running, all of that stuff. All those little things help. But I think the biggest bang for your buck, at least where we live, because electricity costs a lot here, is to time your use of those things. What if you charge your device during the night and then you use without plugging it in, use it in the evening and then plug it in before you go to sleep? Right? That will save power. So that's one thing that you can do. I think just go outside. If you have access to a pool, if you have access to a river or a lake or ocean or somewhere to go cool off, do that. And while you're out of the house, turn your AC down. When you come back, turn it back on. Maybe turn it back on, take a walk, and then when you come in, it'll be cooler, right? So many things that you can do. But go outside, for heaven's sakes, it's summertime.
And I think if I remember correctly, they always say to keep your AC at about 78 or 79 so it doesn't hit that threshold inside of the house. But the other
I
thing you
can't
just
do
said,
that.
remember, yeah,
I can't do
the other
that.
thing
Some people
I
can.
can't either.
I don't know. I don't know if it's women over 50, but I can't. It mine has to be
It's
low.
guys
So
over 50 too, because yeah, I just can't handle, some of the heat stuff and all of that. But
yeah.
what you said just kind of reminded me of growing up too. My parents always saying, turn off that lights. I'm not made of money. You know what I mean? Things like that, which is kind of interesting too as well.
Yeah, my mom still, she's living with us now, 96. And she's always following us, turning off the lights. It's like, I'm using that. I'm cooking dinner here. I need the kitchen lights on. So
That's funny.
yeah, it's a
So
thing.
yeah, so we're still talking about adulting, right? I don't want to grow up, but we still have to be responsible. But you mentioned staycations, right?
Mhm.
How can families plan staycations or short getaways that really don't break the bank? And I don't think we really explore that enough. It's just something I think that would be very beneficial.
It's just being creative. Think outside the box. Be a kid in your mind, you know? Like we grow up and we think we have to dress proper and act proper and walk proper and always wear shoes and stuff like that. Yesterday I was working with a couple of gentlemen who have a very successful business, high dollar business, very, it's legit, right? And so they both have young children, they both have families, and they are in the trenches right now, building this business, getting ready to scale. It's just doing very, very well. It's very consuming. And they both have other obligations and their, community service and churches and things like that. So they're doing all of that. And sometimes the family gets left behind. So I said, if I were your daughter, if I were your son, I would want to be as important as all the people you're talking on the phone with all day long. On the phone. Shh. I'm on the phone. This is important. This is a client. This is a customer. This is event, this is an important
Right.
phone call. And the child's like, well, what am I, chopped liver? Right? I'm just
Yeah.
saying some children might have that. So why not go outside, make an appointment, and it's a real appointment, just like one of those important phone calls with each child for a half an hour or an hour once a week, if you can do that, or try every other week and make a picnic. What if every Thursday while they're home for summer, every Thursday is picnic day? And you pick a picnic basket up and they help you make your lunch and you go outside, you take your feet off, you get barefoot on the grass, you sit down on the grass. Even citified people can try this, even if it's in the backyard or the front yard. It does not matter. Front yard might be risky for some people. Like, what would the neighbors think, right?
Yeah.
But just have a little picnic with your kids and make them the most important people for that half hour or hour. And that's an appointment. And they know all week long, oh, I'm going to have daddy to myself at 3 o'clock or 1 o'clock on Thursday. Right. So things like that don't take a lot of money. They just take a little planning, a little thought, and a little, I don't know what it is when you go into your like inner child. Just what would it be like if you were a child and that happened? You would be the most important person in the world, the most important person. So why not do something like that? So that's a conversation I had just yesterday with some clients of mine. But you can do that. You can take a picnic. You can go to the park and feed the ducks. You can grab the baseball and the mitts and go down to the school. Right? Nobody's at school right now, so go down to the school and get in the what do you call it when you play baseball? The backstop. Get in the backstop there and just throw the ball around. Take the soccer ball out. Grab some frisbees. Practice your aim with frisbees. So whatever it is, go outside, have a staycation, make it important, especially if you have kiddos, make sure they know they're valued and it's not just blowing time, it's creating memories and do something meaningful. And if you can come back from a day like that or a moment like that or an hour like that with a tangible artifact, so that means something that is a tangible memory, that's going to mean a lot to a child. It'll probably mean a lot to your spouse too. So you come back with a flower that you picked or butterfly wing that you found or a feather from a bird or whatever it is, you come back with some sand in a little jar. That's the sand when we went to the beach that day. Remember that day we did that? That's the dandelion that we blew when we had that picnic out in the backyard, and save that and have a tangible artifact. It's huge in
Yeah.
terms of creating relationships and sustaining meaningful relationships. And for kiddos, that's pretty important.
It's I'm glad you're sharing that because it's simple things that we don't really think about because I believe a lot of us, including myself, we overthink things and overcomplicate things, and they don't have to be. So I love the fact that how you put that into play. It's something that we can definitely learn, folks. And if you are taking some notes, just make sure that you also share out our stream. Follow Judy at Judy Copenbarger today. This has been a fun topic, and as part of adulting that sometimes I personally don't want to do. I want to be that kid and just, hey, everybody else take care of themselves and all that. But responsibility calls, right? And having said that too, is when we get to summer, sometimes we forget about the responsibilities, right? So what are some ways that how can grocery bills, dining out be better managed during this summer season?
Yeah, just a little bit of planning. This morning I made something for my mom. And it is 2 eggs, which we have chickens, so that's free, right? 2 eggs, 1 banana, and a handful of berries. Smush it all up, throw it in the microwave, and it is this most amazing, healthy souffle, banana souffle. It's amazing. It's almost like a bread pudding. It could be a dessert. It's so good. So
Wow.
that's kind of cool. Kids can do that. Get them in the kitchen, get them outside. I can't say enough how important it is to get outside. Vitamin D and sunshine. Vitamin D and sunshine, fresh air. Let's go outside. So I think, getting them outside, coming up with, make a obstacle course. That's fun. No matter if they're 2 or they're 20, obstacle courses are great. Or one of those things where you go, what do you call it when you scavenger hunt? You see, now go here, leave a clue, and they go here, and then they get another clue, and then they go here, and all around the place. So, and we have a little bit more land here, so it's kind of fun. I mean, you could be out there for an hour scavenging on a scavenger hunt. So all those things that you can do, just be a little bit creative. It doesn't have to cost money. The whole point of this show, right? Save money, add memories. That's all.
That's a great way of putting that as well too. So when we're talking about planning, that's very huge in all of our episodes that you've discussed this too. And folks, if you're new, we don't ever use the B word, which is budget, right? So keep that in mind if you're new, because you're never going to hear us. We'll do a reference to that, but you're gonna. Let me ask you, what's the first step for those new folks who are just tuning in creating a flexible but effective summer? And this is the word that replaced the B word, spending plan.
Yeah, well, I think if you say, "What do we have for the summer?" We want to spend $1,000 this summer. We want to spend 10,000 this summer, whatever it is. Maybe it's not a summer we're going to go take a Caribbean cruise, but let's say we have $1,000. We have 8 weeks left to blow it. How much do we have each week? So maybe one week you do something spectacular, and you go to Legoland, or you go take a trip to Catalina or something like that. And then the next week or two, you do the staycation thing. Well, let's plan a day at the beach. Let's go find a local park that has amazing things. If you look at your local parks, it's amazing. Here, what we have, there's probably 50 within a few miles. And there are some clever ones. If you have littles, there's a park near here. The whole thing is all fenced in. So great for like 2 to 5-year-olds. It's all fenced in, and it's got roads and bridges kid size, so they can drive their little cars or their little bikes or scooters or wagons up and down over bridges all around the river. It's like they're a little mini city. And that's just a public park. You just open the gate and go in. It's free, right? There's so many. There are things to climb on, things to build, things to go. Some of them have great big trees. You can climb the trees and look at the frogs and feed the ducks and the whole thing. So use your parks, use the free stuff. And here's a little tip. If you like to go do the amusement parks, if you like to go, you look at the, where do they have the art? Where do they
museum, art
Thank
museum.
you. The M word. Wow. Okay. It's time to get some coffee. Museums, all of those things, they have days, almost all of them have a day where everything is free. So people that can't afford to go, if you go online there, or you call them, there's going to be a day that you can go discounted or free. Usually there's a free day. Almost everything has that. And there are twilight discounts. So if you go later in the day, it might be half price or quarter price. Golfers know this, right? If you golf later in the day, you don't pay full price. So check for those things. Sometimes you have to ask. They're not going to put it on the website, but some do. But call and ask, hey, do you have a discount thing? And then plan your week or your month around those activities that cost less. But there are so many things. You don't have to spend any money to have a blast and have a memorable summer with littles or with your partner, right? Just grab your spouse and say, let's go do what tourists do when they come here. What do they do? Where do they go? Where do they hang out? We live in Orange, and the Old Town Orange is the best kept secret. It's like 1950. The cars are 1950. The houses are 1950. They're all historical, and they're not allowed to like make them new and trendy. And all the little antique shops downtown. It's an amazing way to spend. I would spend a whole weekend, maybe a whole week there. But it's an amazing place to do. It's free. You just go and look at all the cool stuff. So lots of things to do. You just got to open your eyes. Maybe, visit whatever city you're in. Visit the top 10 free fun things to do in my city. And, Google that, and you're going to find amazing things. It's like, oh, I never thought that would be kind of cool. So it doesn't have to cost a lot to make a lot of memories.
And that's you just reminded me too that a lot of libraries have great things for programs during the summertime that are free for kids. And also just a reminder, folks, if you have students, use the student discount, use your senior discount. We tend to forget those little things that can save a lot of money as well too.
Great.
So I'm glad you brought all that up.
Yeah, most cities have a summer program. So they have swim lessons, they have tennis lessons, they have craft classes, they have finance classes, they have yoga, they have, anything you'd want to learn, flower crafting, anything you'd want to learn. People come in there. A lot of them are business owners, and they're coming in to further their business. But there's all kinds of stuff for kids, camps, all kinds of things through your city if you're near an urban area. So check it out. It'll be cheaper free for sure.
Yeah. All right, folks, we are at the tail end of our show, and you know what that means. It's our first official Summer of Fun challenge, right, for finance. What do you got for us?
Okay, here's the challenge. So hopefully you've got your juices flowing with some really fun, creative ideas. It's like, oh, I might try that recipe, or, that beach trip or whatever. But what I want to do is challenge you with something financial. So imagine how many weeks you have left for your summer, and school starts back, all different times for people. So however many weeks that is, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever you have left, and how much money you ideally would like to spend doing summer fun. And then divide it into the weeks, and then come up with a plan of what you're going to do. So it's a spending plan for summer fun. And that's the way to beat the heat without messing up your budget, right? You can do this.
Perfect. Folks, thank you for joining us today. If you're not following Judy, please do so at judycopenbarger.today. All of our links or social media are on there as well. And remember that we're here every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. with the replays on Thursday at 8 p.m. And also, if you have a topic that you'd like Judy to address or share some insight in, please let us know. We'd be more than happy to put it on one of the shows as well, too. But until next time, any parting words, Judy?
Make it a great week. Enjoy the sunshine. Go outside.
All right. Take care.